Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Today, we are doing something that I think many of you have been waiting for. We are going to talk about everyday English, the English of real life. Not grammar exercises, not vocabulary tests, the actual language you need when you wake up in the morning, go through your day, talk to people around you, and get things done.
Yes, and what I love about this topic is that it connects directly to your life right now. Everything we cover today, you can start using today. Not when your grammar is perfect, not when you have learned 1,000 more words, today.
Because the truth is that daily life conversations are not complicated. They use simple vocabulary, short sentences, and natural patterns that repeat themselves again and again. Once you know them, they feel automatic.
So let us go through the main situations of daily life and give you the real, natural English for each one, starting from the very beginning of the day.
Morning routines. When you wake up and speak to someone in your house or family, you might say things like, "Good morning. Did you sleep well? What time did you get up? I overslept. I'm running a bit late this morning."
And the answers. Yeah, I slept really well, thanks. Not bad, but I could have used more sleep. I woke up around 7. I barely slept. The baby kept crying.
These morning exchanges are short and casual. They do not need to be grammatically perfect. The goal is warmth and connection. A simple, "How did you sleep?" goes a long way.
Now, talking about plans for the day. What are you up to today? Do you have anything on today? What is your day looking like? I've got a busy day ahead. I don't have much on today. I need to sort out a few things.
"I've got a lot on" means you are very busy. "I don't have much on" means your schedule is fairly free. These are incredibly natural expressions that native speakers use every single day.
Now, let's move to situations outside the home. Shopping. Whether you're in a supermarket, a small shop, or a market, you'll need some of these phrases.
Asking for something. "Excuse me, do you have this in a different size? Where would I find the bread? Could I get a bag, please? How much is this?"
Talking to a cashier. "Just these, please. Do you take card? Have you got anything smaller? Keep the change. Can I get a receipt, please?"
Those small interactions at the checkout happen dozens of times a week for most people. Knowing them well means you move through them smoothly and confidently rather than feeling anxious.
Now, let's talk about asking for directions, because this comes up for learners, especially in new cities or countries.
Asking, "Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the station? Sorry, do you know where the nearest pharmacy is? I'm looking for the post office. Am I going the right way?"
Responding to directions. Go straight on until you reach the traffic lights. Turn left at the corner. It's just around the corner. You can't miss it. It's about a 10-minute walk.
And when you're not sure you understood, "Sorry, could you say that again? Could you point me in the right direction? Am I close?"
One of the most important direction phrases is "you can't miss it." It means the place is obvious and easy to find. Just go straight until you see the big red building. You can't miss it.
Now let's talk about eating out, because restaurants and cafes are places where learners often feel uncomfortable with the language.
Arriving at a restaurant. Do you have a table for 2? Have you got anything free? I have a reservation under the name Smith. Is it possible to sit near the window?
Ordering food. "Could I have the pasta, please? What do you recommend? I'll have the same. What does this come with? Does this contain nuts? Could we have a few more minutes, please?"
During the meal. This is delicious. Could we have some more water? Excuse me, could I get some extra napkins? Everything is fine, thank you.
Paying the bill. "Could we have the bill, please? Can we pay separately? Is service included? Keep the change."
Could we have the bill, please, is the most natural way to ask for the bill in British English. In American English, you might say, "Can we get the check, please?" Both are completely natural in their respective contexts.
Now let's talk about phone conversations, because many learners find phone calls particularly challenging in English. There's no body language to help you, and everything depends on the words.
Answering. "Hello, this is Mary speaking." Hi, who is calling, please? Sorry, can you say that again? You're breaking up a bit.
Calling someone. Hi, is this the right number for the dentist? Could I speak to David, please? I'm calling about my appointment. I'll call back later.
Leaving a message. Could I leave a message? Please, could you ask him to call me back? My number is... I'll try again later.
If you can't understand what was said, you can always say, "Sorry, could you speak a little more slowly, please?" Or, "Sorry, could you repeat that?" No one minds. People know phone calls can be difficult.
Now, let's cover some very important situations involving health, going to the doctor, pharmacy, or describing how you feel.
Describing symptoms. I've had a headache for 3 days. My throat is really sore. I think I might have a temperature. I've been feeling off for a few days. My stomach has been playing up.
That last phrase, my stomach has been playing up, means your stomach has been causing trouble or discomfort. Very natural and commonly used.
At the doctor, I've made an appointment. It's been going on for about a week. It gets worse at night. I'm also taking this medication. Is it serious?
At the pharmacy, do you have something for a headache? I have a prescription for this. Are there any side effects? Can I take this with other medicine? How often do I take it?
Now, let us talk about making and canceling arrangements. This is something that comes up constantly in daily life.
Making plans. Are you free on Saturday? Do you want to meet up sometime? What are you doing this weekend? Shall we say 3 o'clock? Does that work for you? Let's say the coffee shop on High Street.
Confirming plans. That works perfectly. Sounds great. I'll see you there. Looking forward to it. It's in my diary.
Changing or canceling plans. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to have to cancel. Something has come up. Could we rearrange for another time? I'm really sorry for the short notice. I hope we can sort something out soon.
Something has come up is a very useful, natural phrase. It means an unexpected situation or problem has appeared that prevents you from keeping the plan. Something has come up and I can't make it tonight. It does not explain the reason, and native speakers completely understand and accept it.
Now let me talk about expressing feelings and reactions, because daily conversation is full of these. These are the small responses that show you are engaged and present in the conversation.
Positive reactions. That's brilliant. Oh, wow, how exciting. Good for you. I'm so pleased for you. That sounds amazing. I had no idea. What great news.
Sympathetic reactions. Oh no, that's awful. I'm sorry to hear that. That must have been really difficult. I can imagine how frustrating that is. How are you holding up?
Surprised reactions. Really? Are you serious? I cannot believe it. No way. That's unbelievable. You're kidding.
These reactions make conversations feel natural and human. When you respond to what someone says with genuine engagement, the conversation flows. If you just say yes or okay without these natural responses, it can feel flat.
Now let's talk about small requests and favors, because daily life is full of moments where you need to ask for something small.
Could you pass me the salt? Would you mind turning the music down a bit? Is it okay if I open the window? Can you do me a favor? Could you hold this for a second? Do you mind if I sit here?
Is it okay if and do you mind if are both very natural ways to ask polite permission. Do you mind if I sit here means you're checking it's not a problem. The expected answer is no, go ahead, or of course not.
No, go ahead is saying yes, it is fine, not no, you cannot. This confuses many learners. When someone says, do you mind, and the answer is no, they mean no, I do not mind. Yes, please go ahead.
That no to do you mind, meaning yes, it is fine, is genuinely one of the most confusing things in English for learners. So remember, do you mind if I sit here? No, go ahead means yes, of course, please sit.
Now let me cover something really important, how to keep a conversation going when you're not sure what to say next. These are the phrases that fill gaps, buy you thinking time, and keep things natural.
buying time to think. Let me think about that. That's a good question. Let me see. Well, actually, the thing is, I suppose.
Showing you are listening and engaged. I see. Right. Absolutely. Of course. I know what you mean. Tell me more. What happened next?
Asking someone to explain more. What do you mean exactly? Could you give me an example? So, are you saying that? Just so I understand.
These continuers and fillers are what make conversation feel natural. They're not perfect sentences. They're the glue between ideas.
Now, let's go through the most common mistakes people make in daily life English conversations.
Mistake number 1 is using over-formal language in casual situations. Saying, "Would you be so kind as to pass me the salt?" to a friend at dinner. Just say, "Could you pass the salt?" or "Can I have the salt, please?" Over-formality creates distance in casual situations.
Mistake number 2 is being too quiet because you're waiting to speak perfectly. Keeping silent rather than attempting to communicate, even a simple sentence delivered with confidence is far more effective than silence.
Mistake number 3 is not using natural reactions, responding to everything with yes or okay, without any warmth or engagement. These one-word responses make conversations feel flat and difficult. Use, "Oh, really? That's great. I know. Sounds lovely."
Mistake number 4 is taking expressions literally. Hearing something has come up and thinking something physical has risen, or hearing you can't miss it and thinking someone is giving you a warning. Learn common expressions as whole meanings.
Mistake number 5 is forgetting please and thank you. In English, please and thank you are used very frequently in daily interactions, much more than in some other cultures. Using them liberally makes you sound polite and natural.
Mistake number 6 is not knowing how to gracefully end a conversation. Many learners continue talking because they don't know the natural closing phrases.
Natural conversation closers. "Anyway, I should let you go. It was great chatting. I'll let you get on. Speak soon. Take care. See you later. Right, I'd better get going."
These phrases signal that the conversation is ending in a warm and natural way. They don't feel abrupt. They give both people a graceful exit.
Mistake number 7 is being afraid to say, "Sorry, I didn't catch that." Learners sometimes pretend they understood when they didn't. This leads to misunderstandings that are much harder to fix later. Always ask for repetition. "Sorry, could you say that again? What was that, sorry? I didn't quite catch that."
Now let me share some of the most useful all-purpose phrases in daily English. These work in dozens of different situations.
That sounds good. I was just about to. Not just yet. In a bit. Fair enough. No worries. My pleasure. Of course. Absolutely. Leave it with me.
Leave it with me means I'll take care of it. You don't need to worry about it. The customer complained about the delay. Leave it with me. I'll sort it out.
No worries is one of the most versatile phrases in casual English. It means, don't worry, it's fine, no problem. Often used in response to an apology or a thank you. Sorry to bother you. No worries at all.
And fair enough means that's a reasonable point or that makes sense. I can't make it on Friday. I have a family thing. Fair enough. Let's find another time.
These small phrases are powerful. They make conversation flow and make you sound genuinely natural.
Now let's close with the most important thing you can take away from today.
Please.
Daily life English is not about being perfect. It's about being present, warm, and clear. The people you talk to in shops, cafes, on the street, at appointments, they're not judging your grammar. They want to understand you and to be understood.
Every interaction is practice. Every time you order a coffee, ask for directions, make a phone call, or chat with a neighbor, you're building fluency. Not because someone told you to practice, but because life gave you an opportunity.
Grab every one of those opportunities. Feel the language become more natural with each use. Notice the phrases that native speakers use and add them to your own repertoire one by one.
You're living life, and English can be the language you live it in. That is not a burden. That is an adventure.
Thank you so much for being here today. We hope this gives you confidence and real practical tools for your everyday English conversations.
Please keep going, and we'll see you in the next episode.